All right. Good morning, Monday morning, everybody. Uh, Already got comments in the chat here. That's wonderful. Appreciate everybody showing up. Again, it's a new week. Got a lot of crazy slash horrible slash weird things to talk about today. So welcome everybody to the stream. Before I even begin to get into today's news, obviously Donald Trump ruining the holidays for everybody across the country, regardless of income brackets, believe it or not. Everybody is seeing a pullback. But again, before I get into that, I do want to go ahead and say I know last week when I started doing these streams, I said I'm going to do it every day except for Friday. Friday rolled around this past week, and I was like, you know what? I actually kind of miss doing it. So I think we are going to do every day of the week. So, for those of you that have enjoyed this, I enjoy doing it way more than I probably should. So I'm bumping it to 5 days a week. All right. Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Central Time. Be here for the stream. We'll have fresh topics, news of the day every day because I enjoy it. And I enjoy the interactions. I enjoy all of this. And I enjoy giving you the news that, again, nobody really wants to hear, but we all need to hear it because it is so god awful. So let's jump in. According to a new poll from Gallup, Donald Trump has officially ruined the holiday season for really hundreds of millions of people just here in the United States. According to the new poll, shoppers are reporting that they have slashed their holiday budgets by 25% in just the last month. This poll was originally conducted in October when shoppers said, yeah, my holiday budgets can be like $1,000. They did it again for November, and shoppers were immediately like, yeah, we're looking at maybe $750. So a reduction of $250, which is 25%. But here's the thing. First and foremost, let's all make sure we're on the same page here. The season is not about spending money. Okay. Never has been, never will be. But that is, of course, what it's turned into. That is what everybody associates with it. I got to spend money. I got to do this. But that's also the flip side of that, the spirit of giving, right? Like you want to give people nice things. You want to, let the kids have a magical holiday. It's wonderful. It's great. That's how I grew up. Like we didn't get toys throughout the year at all, except for our birthday. And then my parents really would go all out for Christmas. And that was the one time a year where it was like super special and wonderful and amazing. But again, getting gifts is not what it's about. It's the spirit of giving and all that. And I get it. But if we're looking at it from a purely economic standpoint, this is the one time of year when everybody goes all out. It's the one time of year we can always rely on for spending to increase, helping small businesses, helping everyone with that increased economic activity. We see a flurry of hiring around the holidays, people getting jobs that previously did not have them. And because of the reduction in spending, we will not see that economic boost. We will not see small businesses continue to thrive. We will not see the hiring frenzy that we typically do this time of year. It has not materialized. It hasn't. We know that from the ADP report that came out last week. We lost jobs. So this reduction in economic activity, some people may say, well, that's more in line with the spirit of the holidays. And I get it. But our economy does depend on this time of year to give us that massive economic boost. And it's not coming. And if it doesn't come in December, January is going to be so much worse for so many businesses, for so many workers across this country. We need economic activity to, keep the engine humming here in the United States. But because of Trump, it doesn't exist. The economy is continuing to get worse. He is continuing to make stupid decisions enabled by even dumber people in his administration that's killing our economy. It's killing our job market. It's killing small businesses. Remember the ADP report last week, 32,000 jobs total lost in November. Most of that came from small businesses. Mom and pop, pottery shops, restaurants, boutiques, whatever it is. Those are the people losing everything. Walmart's going to be fine. Best Buy, Costco, all of those places, Target, they're going to be okay. They're going to weather the storm. The people who mortgage their future because they had a dream and we wanted to start this small business, those are the people that are going to lose everything in this economy. They already are. And at this time of year, the one time when these places can count on an influx of money, right? We know we're going to get the shoppers. We know we're going to get some revenue. We're going to have some income. Maybe we can use that to catch up on some past due bills here. It's not coming. It's not coming according to the very shoppers who are the ones who are going to be out there spending the money. We don't have it anymore. We can't do this. We can't support these businesses. And that is absolutely horrific for the businesses, for the economy, for everybody involved. Had a member comment here. Thank you very much, by the way, from Mazeas Zenon, who says, "Hey, Farron, finally caught you live. I know you're a football fan and a Packers fan. How about that last second win yesterday over the Bears?" Dude, my house was so loud, and it was just me and my wife watching. Crazy, that interception to end that game. That was, I was hoping they would just stop them on 4th and 2 there. But to seal the deal with an interception was amazing. I loved it. Says, "Your dogs are robbing McDonald's right now." Carla Borger 3619. I appreciate that. But no, they're actually taking their nap. They get their breakfast. They go down. The other 2 dogs are manning the couch while I'm in here doing the live stream. Another comment here, which I love this one, says, "Your Lindell impression is awesome," from Robert Pena 7124. Well, thank you very much, Robert. I try not to do it too much because if I overdo it, it's going to get a little crazy. But I'm running for governor of Minnesota, and I'm bringing my pillow with me. So come on, everybody, to the great snowy state of Minnesota, which the Vikings, by the way, did absolutely horrific this weekend. So take that, Lindell. Or did they win? No, they won. Didn't they? They beat the Commanders, and they shut the Commanders out. Sorry, I had that flipped. But anyway. Enough football. We're talking politics here. We're talking the economy. Another comment there about my Lindell impersonation. I thank you. Another person says, "Pissed off of the Kansas City Chiefs." Yeah, that was a rough one. But anyway, again, this isn't the football chat. Maybe we'll branch out and start doing that. I'm also pissed off at the college football playoff bracket. That's bullcrap. And I think we all know what I'm talking about. That was terrible. Baseball, when the season comes, absolutely, I'll be into that. But look, let's get back to the economy, folks. And I will tell you, just on a personal note, because I said a lot about small businesses, my wife and I actually went to several local little Christmas markets this past weekend, and we did a lot of local shopping. We only did local shopping. Getting gifts, for the kids, for my parents, for her mom. And it was all local artists, local, craftsmen, local bakeries. And so wherever you are in the country, do me a favor, look for those kinds of like Christmas markets where the local vendors do come out, people that you didn't even know had small businesses locally. Go support them. All right. There is so much wonderful stuff that you can find that, again, you otherwise would not see. So please do everything you can if you are out there doing holiday shopping, if you're able to, honestly, go local. Please go local. Honestly, the quality of stuff is so much better. We took so many business cards from so many different small businesses, some, artists, a lot of bakers. I love my bread, and found a lot of good places that, again, we didn't even know were there. There was one woman that makes these gorgeous, like, custom gift baskets, And my wife is already planning out like things that she's going to have her make for some of her, fellow teachers. So shop local when you can. Please do that. That is so important. Not just, to help these small businesses, but it's important right now in this economy. So if you are doing any spending, do what you can to shop local. I promise you, you are not going to regret it. That was like the best Saturday morning we have had in forever. And you know who didn't have a good Saturday or Sunday, actually? And that, of course, is Donald Trump. Aside from, of course, the horrendous economic news, which Donald Trump is heading out tomorrow on tour to try to convince people isn't happening. But over the weekend, the man suffered multiple different meltdowns on Truth Social. The first of which, as per usual, was directed at a female reporter because Donald Trump hates women. He hates intelligent women. He hates women that are not subservient to him. So Donald Trump got on Truth Social and decided to attack CNN's Caitlin Collins, saying this: Caitlin Collins of fake news CNN, always stupid and nasty, asked me why the new ballroom was costing more money than originally thought 1 year ago. I said, because it is going to be double the size and the quality of finishes and interiors has been brought to the highest level. Also, the column span has been substantially increased for purposes of viewing. It is actually under budget and ahead of schedule, as my jobs always are. It's just much bigger and more beautiful than originally planned. Interestingly, and seldom reported, there are no taxpayer dollars involved. Seldom reported. You literally say that every time you talk about the ballroom. You talk about the fact that people are using this to, I'll give you $10 million for your ballroom. By the way, I need this government contract. It's a pay-to-play scheme. So honestly, Donald, that's the one part you should not want to highlight, because all it does is remind people of how corrupt you are and how easy it is to buy you off. Honestly, maybe all of us, instead of spending money on holiday shopping, ought to just all pitch into a big pool, get $10 million amongst, 10 million people, and we'll buy part of that ballroom for everybody, and then we'll get some government favors in return. How about that, Donald? It's easy to buy you off. You're so openly corrupt that it's not fooling anybody. And also, Caitlin Collins is definitely not stupid or nasty. But those are the types of insults that we get from the President of the United States on a near daily basis at this point. The man has no class. Like, I've talked about the misogyny, obviously. I've talked about how he wants all the women subservient to him. I've talked about his attacks on the press. But let's talk about what a just genuine piece of trailer trash he is. Because he is, right? This man is trash. And I mean that like in the most literal sense of the word. He has no class. Money cannot buy you class. And he is proof of that. I mean, he's the kind of guy that should be out there wearing a wife beater, drinking a beer at 8:30 a.m., emptying his septic into the storm sewer, keeping in the Christmas theme here. And we all know what I'm talking about, hopefully there. But that is what Donald Trump is. He's Cousin Eddie. He is Cousin Eddie from National Lampoon's Vacation series. That is what we have in the White House. And he's not even as smart as Cousin Eddie, to be honest with you. But I think that's the perfect analogy. That's what we're going with. We've got President Cousin Eddie bringing his low-class lifestyle to the White House. That's what we're dealing with. And again, that wasn't the only meltdown that Donald Trump suffered over the weekend. It just happens to be the most vicious one. The other one also shows how corrupt he is, because he's mad that Democrat Henry Cuellar, who of course he pardoned last week, guy should be on his way to trial and then hopefully on his way to jail, but Trump gave him the pardon, even though he's a Democrat who did vote to impeach Trump. And then Trump got pissed off over the weekend because Cuellar was like, cool, now that I'm pardoned, I'm going to run for office again as a Democrat. I'm going to stay a Democrat and not jump over to be a Republican in my district, which is considered to be a toss-up. So Trump got pissed. Real tomato ketchup, Eddie. I love that. Trump got pissed and came out and said this: Only a short time after signing the pardon, Congressman Henry Cuellar announced that he will be running for Congress again in the great state of Texas, a state where I received the highest number of votes ever recorded, as a Democrat. Such a lack of loyalty, something that Texas voters and Henry's daughters will not like. Oh well, next time, no more Mr. Nice Guy. No more Mr. Nice Guy, says the guy who just a few posts earlier called a female reporter nasty and stupid. You mean to tell me this whole time we've been dealing with nice guy Trump? Like, now we're going to get the vicious version? Now we're going to get the unhinged guy? We've been dealing with Trump down on like a level 1, and now he's bumping it up to 10? I don't know about that, folks. That seems a little iffy. I think he may be a little confused as to what kind of person he's been all of these years, forever. But this again is who he is. He pardoned Cuellar. He wanted loyalty in return because these pardons are not a one-way street. You got to give him something back in return. The only problem Trump realizes is that I gave him the pardon first without securing any pledge before I did it. So, oops. Yeah, but that just shows you, again, these pardons are currency. Trump is the easiest person to buy off, whether it's through loyalty. Sometimes you don't even have to spend any money. It's just like, oh yeah, man, totally. I'm like super loyal to you. Don't you worry about that. I got it. You just give me this, whatever I want. And then, yeah, we're good to go, buddy. And then it doesn't work out. But Trump is so dumb. I mean, literally, genuinely an unintelligent person with no common sense that he does these things. And he's so corrupt and desperate for power, for admiration, for all of these things, for money, that he's willing to give it up. Like, yeah, hell yeah, I'll do this for you because, yeah. Nope. Doesn't always work out that way. Honestly, I hope Cuellar loses. I hope he gets primaried, or I hope he loses the primary, I should say. He shouldn't be a candidate. He should be heading to trial. And then obviously, I think he should be headed to jail based on what I've seen in the case. But none of that matters anymore because it's gone. Trump pardoned him like he's done with so many other criminals in this country. Absolutely absurd. For a man who claims that he has to send ICE agents to knock down children's doors to get rid of the criminals, he's let more criminals out of jail and prevented them from even going to jail than any other president, folks. Anyone. We are talking about unprecedented numbers in his first year in office. And violent criminals, a lot of them rearrested already. Some of them no longer among the living after horrific run-ins with police officers. These are the people Trump put back on the streets, and he has the audacity to go out there and tell us Democrats are soft on crime. Democrat-run cities are overrun with crime. Now, excuse me while I go let, drug dealers out. Excuse me while I go let cop beaters out of prison. Oh, by the way, I'm also going to pardon one of the biggest fraudsters on the planet because, that's going to help me financially. Not politically, but financially. That is who we've got in the Oval Office. Let's get to some comments here. A lot of fun ones I've seen go past. People are going after somebody named Sammy. I may have missed their comment, but I would like to see that. Let's see here. I anticipate more Republicans jumping ship to dissociate themselves from Trump soon. They see the numbers and know that we know this is not working. I agree 100%. I do think, a lot of analysts right now are predicting that. They think we're going to start seeing it after their specific primaries end, which some of them begin, March and April. So we could see more Republicans jumping ship at that point. But as I say, we're not going to see significant numbers of Republicans jumping ship, which is fine. We don't need significant numbers. We'll see more of them speak out, I guess, publicly but then, go along with Trump's plans. But all we need is 3 or 4, right? The Epstein vote proved that. So if we get 3 or 4, and honestly, I think it's going to be way more than that, but we're not going to get 50 Republicans jumping ship. We're not going to get, 40. So 5 to 10 to 15 to 20, which I think is a reasonable number of people we're going to see jumping ship and trying to, kind of go against him. I think that's more realistic, and I do think that's something we will see. A super chat here, thank you very much, from KA Cinema 96 says, how should I reply when someone says, what rights have people lost when talking about the harm toward minorities this year, particularly LGBT people? They're losing the right to exist. They've lost the right to freely walk down the street without being harassed. They're losing their right to be represented in the media. Not even as like a main character. If there's a transgender character in a book, a gay character in a book, look at Tennessee. They're banning them. Nope, you can't have any gay characters. They're being wiped away from existence. They're also, according to the statistics, one of the most targeted groups to be the victims of violent crimes. So again, losing their right to exist is what these individuals are losing in this administration. Another super chat here, thank you very much, says the most relevant Broadway show ever is Cabaret. All right. I haven't seen it, unfortunately. I've only ever seen one Broadway play, and it was not even my choice to do it. My boss was like, we're in New York, I'll get us tickets to a play. And we all went, and that was that. So unfortunately, I don't know much about that, but I will take your word for that. This is a good one here from Maxed Out. Says they're taking away your right to be secure in your person. And I think that's a more succinct way of saying what I said. So good job. This question here from Media Rare 2386 says, Farron, I need some peace of mind. Despite everything, people still voted for him in 2024. Since then, I've lost all faith in American democracy, and good news. Yeah, look, I would love to give you something to be a little more optimistic or happy about, but yeah, I've lost faith in the public too. What happened in last year's election, I know, look, you got some folks out there like, I told you guys this was going to happen. It's like, yeah, but you even didn't actually think that though. You were just kind of doing a cover your ass moment at the time so that, hey, if you were wrong about it, you're wrong in a good way, not wrong in a bad way. But nobody really saw this coming. It's certainly not in the numbers that we saw. Yes, some people did firmly believe on the left that Trump was going to win, but they could not have predicted by the margin that he did, which still, by the way, was under 50% of the popular vote, but still, losing all the swing states, that was rough. These voters have very short memories, very short attention spans, and they made the wrong choice. So can we trust the voters again in the future? Because as I always say, it goes back to the voters. This is on them. It genuinely really is. Like, yes, Trump is horrible and we blame him for what he does, but he wouldn't be able to do that had it not been for these, millions of people that said, hell yeah, let's do it again. We had so much fun the first time. Okay, well, you guys did this to us, so we're also going to hold you accountable. You should not be trusted to do anything at this point because you make very dumb decisions. And it's fine if you're making dumb decisions that only impact you, right? Like if you're a single individual and you go to the casino and you lose all your money, that's on you, okay? But if you go to the casino and you steal everybody else's money and then you go to jail and you've burned all the money and everybody has no money, then your dumb decision screwed everybody else over too. So that's what we're looking at here. Tyler Hackner, welcome. Love to see you out there, Tyler. Says this is on them. It absolutely is. And I'm not going to give voters a free pass. I'm not going to act like, oh, well, they got duped. No. It's like George W. Bush said, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me, can't get fooled again. For those of you older enough to remember that, that was quite a fun time. When George W. Bush made that comment, that was hilarious. The rest of his administration, not hilarious, but that was pretty fun. What's Bannon planning? Barron planning, excuse me, quietly waiting for his inheritance. I think Barron, sorry. I get the two confused. I think Barron is just planning on not getting any taller so that he doesn't have to duck if there's a ceiling fan in the room. Because that kid is just getting like super crazy tall. I think Barron, out of all of Trump's kids, is the one who may be able to successfully run for office in the future. I don't want him to. I think he's going to be just like his dad, maybe even a little worse. But he seems to not be dumb. Okay. All the other Trump kids, the three big ones, Eric, Don Jr., and Ivanka, they're dumb. Barron's not. Barron has sense. He is the one who told his dad, like, you got to go on these like manosphere blog casts. And he did, and that helped him, and he won that demographic. So Barron understands things, and Barron knows kind of how to do what Donald himself does. So Barron, obviously in the future, because he's got a long way to go till he's even old enough, he's the one that does worry me in the future, because that would be long enough to where people will have forgiven the sins of the father. And maybe they'll say, look at this little, ding dong. Maybe he's better than daddy. And then next thing you know, oh no, recession again. So yeah, Barron is someone to keep an eye on in the future, because I think he may have his dad's savvy, I guess, his charisma, if we want to call it that, which I don't, but I think that is the best way to say it. So yeah, Barron, Media Rare 2386 says, nobody is born dumb. It depends how money and power changes, or rather stagnates. Barron. I agree, nobody is born dumb. But the Trump family, oh boy, that's a tough one, right? And of course, there is a difference between being a stupid person and being an uneducated person. Not having knowledge is not the same as just being dumb. Not everybody has access to knowledge. Not everybody has the same, opportunities in life. So I don't hold it against anybody that's not knowledgeable about a subject. But with the Trump family, you guys have had access to all of the knowledge of the world. You're just still very dumb. And you still don't know anything. Like, you're both not knowledgeable and just dumb. So, they have the worst of both worlds, I guess we could call it. Jeff Petit says, I think they are born corrupt. Yeah, that's kind of what happens when you pop out and you got that Trump face, which we all know what I'm talking about with the Trump face. They all have it. It's awful. That's pretty much a guarantee that, oh yeah, this baby's corrupt. You can just see it. It's in their genes, Iowa Hank says. I agree with that 100%. Listen, folks, that's going to do it for today. Again, every morning, 9 a.m. Central Time, we're going to be having these live streams Monday through Friday. Several issues each day we will be discussing. I will be, of course, Trump is slang for fart in the UK. I love it. I'll be interacting with the comments. So yes, if you've got questions, concerns, whatever it is, something funny to say, I love that. Toss it into the comments and I will do my best to react to as many as possible. So thank you all so much for joining us today. By the way, if you're not already subscribed, please do so. Do not miss out on these streams. Do not miss out on any of the rest of the content we have going up throughout the day. Tons of videos every single day of the week. Also, follow me across social media at Farron Balanced, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Blue Sky, Threads, at Farron Balanced. So thank you all so much. Have a great rest of the day. Stay tuned for the rest of the videos of the day. Do not forget those. Like, comment, share everything. But again, if you're not already, please subscribe. I'll talk to you tomorrow.